Feel like a star, but only strictly where I'm famous. I'm in this for the longest haul, like we'll see where it takes us. I'm throwing back these double shots like whiskey here is weightless. Cause this career I chose was even riskier than Vegas, yo.
I got my coffee cup this morning for all the Coffee with Colby listeners out there who are forfeiting the home video for today's very, very special episode of Live with Colby Psychic Rebel. Today, I am just so thrilled and excited for our guest. I just personally have followed him for many, many years and am so happy that he actually changed his life many, many years ago to help empower us. So to have him on the show is beyond an honor. I mean, he is truly a master. He's an internationally recognized stress management expert. He is a corporate trainer. He is a meditation master. But he is also an author. He's an author of a critically acclaimed #1 Amazon bestseller, De-Stressifying, the Real World Guide to Personal Empowerment, Lasting Fulfillment, and Peace of Mind. But he's also got a revision of another book that he did called Secrets of Meditation, a practical guide to inner peace and personal transformation, which is the winner of the Nautilus Book Award. And that actually is on Amazon. So he just redid that whole book, and that's out now. But for many of you who may or may not know, David is known for his meditations, which he gives to us worldwide, and his own radio show called Sweet Spot, which is on Hay House's station. It's live from the Sweet Spot. And there's so much more that we are going to go into. But what is also interesting, which I found so fascinating in reading some more about David, is he was in a 20-year career with business, finance, mergers, and acquisitions. So, which is neat because many of you know that I spent 14 years as a tax manager. So I was like, okay, all right. No wonder I love this man so much. And he began a new journey to wholeness. And he studied under Deepak Chopra for 10 years. But, here's the thing. He is his own master and teaches worldwide through retreats and schools and classes and workshops. So it is with an absolute esteemed, humble and honorness that I welcome Davidji. Hi, David.
Thanks for such a great welcome.
Hi, how are you this morning?
Amazing. How are you?
I am doing really, really well. It looks so gorgeous where you are.
I'm in the sweet spot of the universe.
You are in the sweet spot of the universe. It's fantastic. I love it. So, I wanted to just get the listeners to know a little bit more about you and then kind of share some things that you're going to be doing, with us, with the community, with the world a bit. So, when you were in this career, the corporate career many, many years ago, do you remember a point in time that you felt inspired to make a shift, inspired to make that transition?
Yeah. It was actually in the wake of 9/11. I'd worked in the World Trade Center for a while, and I'd left that building about 6 months before 9/11. And in the wake of 9/11, I was just walking around southern Manhattan, Soho. I was walking past a row of cardboard boxes that people were living in. Oh. And as I did that, a hand reached out, grabbed my pant leg, and this guy peered up at me and he said, "What's going to be on your tombstone?"
Ooh.
A reflective moment. And in that moment, I realized, I'd long given up my meditation practice. Balance was gone in my life. I was multitasking about 30 things a day, and I wasn't really living with purpose. So when I asked the question, what's going to be on my tombstone? Why am I here? What am I doing? What's my purpose? It just sparked something inside of me. And I was also, I was in a lot of pain, emotional pain during that period of time. And pain is an amazing motivator. And so I figured, it's not this. I didn't know what it was, but it wasn't whatever I was doing. And, or at least I wasn't doing it the right way. I didn't know there were tools. I didn't know you could live a balanced life and live in the real world. And so I quit that job and headed off to meet Deepak Chopra, who was doing a meditation retreat in Oxford, England. Spent a week there, and then headed off to India, of course, on my own Eat, Pray, Love version, without the eating and the love. And cruised around India in search of the guru. And I did that for about 6 months, meditating, visiting ashrams, bathing in the Ganges, praying, practicing yoga, doing all these pujas. And then suddenly I was laying in a hammock in a cashew forest in Kerala, southern India. And I read the Bhagavad Gita, this chapter 2, verse 48, which says, Yogasta Kuru Karmani. Establish yourself in the present moment and then perform action. And then suddenly it dawned on me. I'm searching for this thing that's inside. The guru rests inside. In fact, the answer to every single question we could ever ask actually rests inside.
Oh.
And, so that was my big aha moment. I came back to New York, and a friend of mine said, all you do now is sit around and meditate. Isn't that great? And she said to me, no, you should learn to teach meditation. And I was like, oh, come on. I'm from New York. I don't care about anyone else's meditation. And she said, no, if you really want to learn something, learn to teach it.
Yes.
She goes, like, why don't you go visit Deepak Chopra? He lives on the West Coast, and maybe he could help you. So flew out to California, connected again with Deepak. It was a love connection, and I became the COO of his center, and then the lead educator, and then the dean of Chopra Center University. And what happened really was that I didn't ever intend to share these teachings. I really just wanted to raise my own vibration, but suddenly something sparked inside of me, and I had to share. I had to teach other people because it changed my life. And connecting to the stillness and silence, which now I'm in my consistent 16th year of that, is transformational. And the world comes at me in slow motion, and I don't really feel overwhelmed. And stress is really something that fuels me. It doesn't overwhelm and kook me out. And so I just began traveling the world. I left the Chopra Center, left that role, and said, how can I share these teachings with the world? And that's what I do. And
wow.
Now I have found that purpose. There's this ancient Sanskrit phrase. We talk about the concept of dharma. There's actually no English translation for dharma, but there is a translation for the root of dharma, which is dri, D-H-R-I. And that in ancient times, maybe 7,000 years ago, was the force, this otherworldly force that holds the stars apart and the universe together. And so that's what I teach people. What holds your stars apart and your universe together? Let's identify that thing. Let's connect stillness and silence that rests within.
Wow.
And then let's do that thing.
Wow. That's, and it's just, I have to say, just from my own personal experience, again, working in that tax accounting, that corporate world, that feeling of loss, that feeling of something's not fulfilled. And along that path, I just somehow found you. I mean, it's remarkable because I certainly was not looking for meditations. And yet there you were. And I just resonated and connected. And there's so much healing that you do through these meditations that you offer. And I have to say, I mean, so I definitely do it during the day, and I do it every night, right? And so you have this saying called feather your nest. And I'm like, you should hear me talk to you. I'm like, yes, David, I'm feathering. So it makes me feel at home. And I want to know, how did you, was that an expression that just came to you? Or how is it that you're able to make your listener feel as if they're in the room with you? How do you do that?
Honestly, I just step out of the way.
Okay.
And just like you, I channel the universe. There was a period of time where I was working with someone who was a stylist up in LA, and she said, "Hey, do you want to do voiceovers?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would love to." voiceovers. So she said, let me check out, some situations. I'll talk to my people and see what that is. And she came back from LA that weekend and she said, guess what? There's 5 people. They do all the voiceovers. So you're not breaking into that world until one of them leaves that realm. I said, well, I know what I can do. I'll create guided meditations. I'll just do that thing. And so the first one that I did, I just like closed my eyes, and now I think I've got over 800 guided meditations, and I don't script them, I don't read them, I just close my eyes and then just go there. So when I was thinking about, what's a really comfortable way for me to help people settle in, just suddenly feather your nest.
Oh God, I do love it. Even when you say it now, I'm like, okay, I'm feathering. It is. It's beautiful. I do love it. Do you remember all of your meditations or not really? You've done so many. So do you remember them or just not at all?
I don't know that I remember the full experience, but I remember all of the themes because they're themes that are important to me.
Okay.
I think and people who are in the process of sharing, we're going through life and we're experiencing the roller coaster and the peaks and valleys and multiple times throughout the course of the day. And so suddenly I'll be, someone will cut me off and I'll be like so irritated, and then I'll say, that's it. Let me connect to a meditation on irritation and on acceptance and on opening your heart and then not putting up barriers. And suddenly, I'll race home. I have a little, vocal booth, and I'll just race home and I'll record a meditation on that.
That's wonderful.
Really, I think, all of our teachings come from our own life experience. And,
yes.
So that's why I don't have to script it, because it's real and it's going on.
It's authentic and from the heart and soul. So we have a question actually from one of the viewers. She's asking that personally she finds meditation difficult, but she also knows it's important. She said, do you have any tips for a hyper person? Like what tips would you give a hyper person in order for them to kind of start meditating?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And, I come from the East Coast, New York. We're all control freaks. And so, even our society, we're not used to giving control away. So there's always a little intensity. High-powered, high achievers are always people who are pushing. And this is something very different. This is allowing. This is accepting. This is surrendering. There's a beautiful line by Lao Tzu, the ancient Chinese philosopher. Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? And most of us say, oh, no, I can't do that. But it's a cultivation. Patience is a cultivation, and settling down is a cultivation. So there's a technique. I started off teaching it to the Marines up in Camp Pendleton. And now I've taught it to hundreds of thousands of people around the world, whether in the corporate world or just very high pressure jobs or just feeling the intensities of life. And we can do it right here. And that way, it's a way to reconnect. I call it taking a time in. We can reconnect to the stillness and silence that rests within. So it works like this. Let's all of us think about something that's been bothering us or irritating us or disturbing us this week. Don't go too deep. This isn't therapy. And just in your mind's eye, see that something was supposed to happen. It didn't. Someone said they were going to do something. That didn't happen. Whatever that is. And get clear on their face maybe, or feel that sensation somewhere in your body. And now close your eyes and through your nose, take a long, slow, deep breath in and watch that breath as it goes down deep into your belly. And when it gets there, hold it and watch it and witness it. And now let it go. Watch it as it moves up your chest, out through your nostrils. Keep witnessing and hold that breath out and keep watching it as it dissipates into the ether. And now breathe normally and open your eyes. And that was 16 seconds. And in those 16 seconds, and Colby, you were playing along, but viewers out there, if you weren't playing along, it's okay. You may get another chance. But if you were playing along, you realize you weren't thinking about that irritation. You weren't in the past. You weren't in the future. You were fully present. And that's the present moment. That's us connecting to the now. And in the present moment, there's no anger, there's no grievance, there's no regret, there's no irritation, there's no judgment or blame or finger pointing, there's no sadness. And so that's only 16 seconds. And if you do that 4 times, it's a minute. If you do it 20 times, it's 5 minutes. And so that's a way for the most high stressed, high pressured, intense person filled with anxiety to suddenly introduce a pattern interrupt into their life, just a break in the action. It's essentially your brain taking a breath. And science is now proving that's really, really healthy. It actually increases wound healing. It helps the dendrites and axons in our brain connect better. It raises, meditation we know, boosts your immune system, raises your sex hormone, your growth hormone. It lessens your levels of cortisol, adrenaline, and glucagon. It thins your blood and it lowers your blood pressure, helps you sleep better at night, allows you to be a little more patient, makes you make better, more conscious choices. So it's like, gee, what else can I do in my life?
What else do I need to do? And it's free. It's free. Right. So it's perfect. It's perfect.
It's included in your health care plan, no matter what it is.
I love that. Thank you. And yeah, this, everybody will be able to watch this on replay, and we're going to air it again Thursday night. So there'll be a lot of good opportunities for people to practice along with this. What is, for you, now that you've been doing this for so long, can you pinpoint the most gratifying aspect of your work? Is there one thing that you just go, this particular thing just really is the most gratifying for me?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting. One of my core values is having an impact. Just one of the things. I try to do things that there'll be a ripple from. Doesn't have to go viral, but just even if it's just one person where they suddenly go, oh, light bulb went off. I get it. I can do that. And so a lot of the work that I do is either on Hay House Radio, which is just talking into emptiness, or recording meditations, which is just sitting in the darkness with my eyes closed and channeling a meditation, or writing a book. So I don't necessarily have that, that instant feedback. So when I get an email, and I get a bunch of emails every day, when I get an email from someone that says, oh, wow, I was going through a very, very challenging time, and that technique that you shared with me, or that meditation really helped me become more empowered, become a little stronger, tap into my courage, find my purpose, let go of things that no longer serve me. Those are my most satisfying moments. So it's really not about likes or follows. It's more about when someone says to me that they've been touched by the teaching.
Yes.
That's just like, yes.
Yes. So so Secrets of Meditation, speaking of the books that you're talking about, you've written Secrets of Meditation, Practical Guide to Inner Peace and Personal Transformation. It's on Amazon, everybody. So I think I have a slide of it if Tony, you'll put that up so everybody knows how to get it on Amazon. But what I want to know, right there, the blue one. There you go. You redid this book. So tell me, what's a little different? Why did you do that? What can people expect now with it?
Well, I wrote the original book in 2011, and it was published by Hay House on September 4th, 2012. And that was really at a certain point in my life. And Secrets of Meditation really talked about all the different styles of meditation, because I want people to know there's not one thing. It's not one box that you have to fit in. There's so many ways that we can find that stillness and silence and connect to the present moment. And so I don't have an agenda. I'm not pushing a certain type of meditation. I just want people to find the thing that works for them. And so suddenly it was like 4 years later, and I said, oh my God, there's so many more techniques that I've learned. And mindfulness has become a little hipster trendy, and I wanted to really talk about that. So I started writing a book about all the new techniques that I've explored and all the people that I've met, and how to really find your purpose and use meditation to really take your life to the next level. And once I'd gotten about 150 pages into it, I was like, wait a second, I wrote this book already and I'm writing a new version. So I said, I'm writing another book but I'm thinking maybe I just revised the old one. And they said it can't be a revision unless you at least add 4 new chapters. And I was like, oh, I've added 4 new chapters. There's like all this stuff. And they said, well, if you want to take on the task of rewriting, that entire book and adding all this new material in, rock on. And there wasn't an audiobook before. And since then, they asked me to record the audiobook as well. So it's really, I call it the fresh, bold, revised edition. New science. And that's really, science is accelerating at such a fast pace. So I really wanted to put the most recent science that's talking about how meditation, can help you heal the body, and how meditation can help you move from pain. And, these studies are real now. They were cuckoo woo woo, only 3 years ago. And so I felt that people should know that meditation is such a powerful tool, no equipment necessary.
Yes.
And you can meditate anywhere, on a plane, on the beach, in a line, in traffic, wherever it is. And so that's really what this book is. It's a little edgier. It's really, whatever I write comes from my heart, and I just felt this book needed to be written and to be shared.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So again, and anyone, you got to get the book. It's on Amazon. And so now you are coming up to the LA area. I think it's Santa Monica technically, but listen, we all call it LA here.
I always like Long Island. It just goes for like
yeah,
every direction.
it is. Do you know I'm from New Jersey? So I'm from New Jersey, so we're both East Coasters there. But let's talk about this workshop. It's at Unplugged Meditation, which is a beautiful space. You're doing it May 27th. Now, it's called Discover Your Life's Purpose. So tell us a little bit about this workshop and what people can expect and things like that.
For the past several years, I've been offering a workshop called Discover Your Dharma. And Susie Yalof, who's the creator of Unplugged Meditation, it was the first drop-in meditation studio on the planet. And she said to me, maybe you could do that up here. And I was like, okay. So, I get so many emails from people who are like, I'm lost. I don't know where to turn. I'm at a crossroads. What should I do? I have all these conflicting pieces of life, family, money, purpose, all pulling at me in different directions. And over the years, I've learned some really powerful techniques to help people make better choices and to help people really connect to their dri, that sacred power that I was talking about that holds your world apart, and holds it together at the same time. What is that that's bursting inside of you? And so I'm excited to bring these teachings up to LA. I love Unplugged Meditation, and pretty much once a month for the last 2 years, I've been going up there just to teach a 1-hour class and lead a meditation. So I'm really excited that this is really a multi-hour experience, and I'll have some real time to spend with people and go into their individual and personal journeys.
Oh, wow.
That next level.
Oh, that's incredible. And so you're going to come up kind of once a month too? Because May 27th, I'll be in New Jersey, but I want to do it.
I love Jersey. Give Jersey a kiss from me. I lived in Jersey for a while as well.
Oh, I will. This is going to be amazing, though. So if anyone, listen, the opportunity to kind of have this in-person workshop with David is just a phenomenal opportunity. And, with one of the world's masters. I mean, really, this guy's, I do love you. So, maybe I'm a little biased, but it is remarkable what you do. And so on your show, so now you have your own show, Live from the Sweet Spot. Now, how did you get Sweet Spot? How did that come about for you?
Well, in my life at the Chopra Center, it was a nice 10-year chunk of my life. I was exposed to so many amazing people and so many very successful people who were struggling with challenges of overwhelm or too much stress or anxiety going on in their lives. I met great masters while I was there, great teachers. And one of the people who I met while I was there was Oprah Winfrey. And so I was taking a walk with Oprah. I was walking her over to an appointment that she had. And I said, Oprah, check it out. Here we are right now in the sweet spot of the universe. We're about a mile from the ocean. Take a deep breath, Oprah. Breathe in that air. That's ocean prana just coming in, sacred ocean prana. And you feel that warmth about a mile in that direction there, these mountains, and the desert air is coming in over the mountains. So you've got that ocean energy and that desert warm air, and it meets right here. And I kneel down to the ground and I tap the ground and I said, this is the sweet spot of the universe, Oprah. And she said, Davidji, I am the sweet spot of the universe. So that just stuck in me. And so about a week later, I was over at Hay House, and Louise Hay said, do you want to do a radio show here? And I was like, yes, done. And she said, what do you want to call it? And I was like, how about Live from the Sweet Spot? She was like, whatever. So it's been, so I've been using that expression now. And it's really wherever you are, that's the sweet spot. It's not a question of, being a mile from the ocean and a mile from the desert. It's really being able to connect to nature, to connect to yourself, to connect to source, to connect to the present moment. And we can do that wherever we are. So wherever you are right now, up in Hollywood or anywhere around the world, that's the sweet spot of the universe.
Yes. Yeah. And I do love it. And it reminds people too, just saying you're in the sweet spot already. It's like it kind of says so much to them. You already have enough. You're already in the right place. There's no more searching needed in a way, right? So it's gorgeous. I do love it. And with your work, is there any stories that you can remember that would be like just the most either embarrassing or crazy? Like you're like, oh my goodness, how did this happen to me? Or, just trouble, like, because you're supposed to be calm and help people. But is there anything that just, behind the scenes wasn't working out and then you had to kind of hold everything together?
Well, that sounds like my life on a weekday. I remember there was this when I was at the Chopra Center. The Chopra Center was founded by Deepak Chopra and David Simon. David Simon was a brilliant neurologist, one of my great mentors, and he became my closest friend. And he passed away in 2012. And I read everything that he wrote, and we spent every day together for virtually 10 years. And I remember I was getting on stage at this medical conference, and there were probably, 2,000 physicians in the room. And, I'm usually, whenever I'm at a medical conference, I'm the person, not only who doesn't have any initials or letters after their name, but I've only got one name, Davidji. And they're like, Davidji what? So that's why on social media, I'm mostly Davidji meditation. But so I'm on stage and I start off by saying, I want to share with you one of the most important quotes that has rested inside of me since the moment I read it. It's by Dr. David Simon. And as soon as I read this quote, I knew I would never forget it. And it would suddenly ripple through me every single day. And then I forgot what that quote. There I am on stage. I've just set the whole thing up and people are like, what's the quote? And I'm like, got it. So I think just allowing myself, it was like a half hour later, I was like, oh, I remembered it. But by the way, the quote was, ultimately the best use of a physician's knowledge is to teach people to heal themselves. So since that moment, I've never forgotten it. I remember I was, just out there, just put myself out, walking a tightrope and like, forgot it. And that's one of my moments. But honestly, there was a time when I was a crisis meditator, and most people are crisis meditators. We're not crisis toothbrushers. We brush our teeth every day, a couple of times a day, multiple times a day. And we're not trying to wow that's a pertaining experience. We do it because we know the benefits that it brings to us, and that's visualized it. And meditation, of course, is the same way. We just do it when we're stressed out. If it's like, oh, you're a jerk, I'm going to go and meditate. That's not the best time. They were just being reactive. And so if we can proactively wake up and really start our day with that trajectory of stillness and silence, then suddenly everything that flows through us throughout the day has a little bit of that stillness and sound. It's a thimbleful, an eyedropper full that's really informing and impacting every thought we have, every word we speak, every action we take. And so when stuff happens, I almost, that's why I like to do live shows. That's why I like to do live radio every week. That's why I like to get on stage in front of lots of people, because I don't have an agenda. I don't have a script of what I'm going to say or do. I know there's like 20 things that I'd like to share. Hopefully I get to them and more. But because I'm trying to really allow myself in every moment to surrender. And when I find myself, coming in, I'm like, there's just no need.
Yeah.
There's just no need. I truly believe that we are our most powerful when we allow the divine energy to come into us and then flow it. Because, our brains are like pretty small and our physical bodies are going to die. And, there's only so much knowledge we have, but the wisdom of the universe is infinite. And so I want to be able to channel and flow infinity, not 8 things.
Right.
And I think that each of us has that ability. It's just a question of, some people like you are a lot more sensitive to that energy, and you mastered it, you cultivate it. That's how you, connect. And I think everyone can, no matter who you are, can access that spark inside of you, because we are not our thoughts. We have 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts a day. That's one thought every 1.2 seconds. We're not our thoughts. We have thoughts. We're not our emotions. We have emotions. We're the space between all of that. And I believe we all can access that space. And once you access it, you can connect to it at any time, and you can expand that space. And I think that's one of the most beautiful aspects of life, this ancient teaching. We're talking about, meditation's been around for more than 8,000 years.
Yeah.
And yet, our world has never really rewarded stillness. If you see someone sitting with their eyes closed, they're either sleeping or slacking off. If they're accomplishing anything. And so I believe we all have the power to show up. I'm also a big fan. He's become a friend of mine, Don Miguel Ruiz.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And I believe that, we can all spend a little bit more time being more impeccable with our word,
Yes.
not taking things personally, not making assumptions, and showing up and always bringing our best, doing our best. And so that's why I created this this teacher training, the Masters of Wisdom and Meditation teacher training, because I'm not a devotee or follower of one philosophy. And I think that if you're going to be a really great teacher out there, you should be able to access, the ancient Vedic teachings, the Hindu teachings, the Buddhist teachings, the most ancient and the most modern expressions of those as well. So whether it's 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, or the Bhagavad Gita, or the 4 Agreements, or the Dhammapada, so many different things that we can connect to. I think once we access all the different wisdom philosophies that have existed for thousands of years, we get to pick what feels right for me. And then we take a thread of that, and a thread of that one, and a thread of that one, and we weave, our own comfort with how we connect to the world. Just like the psychic rebel, that's what you connected with. It's like, that speaks to me. I get that. I feel that. I am that.
Yes.
And because you have so comfortably embraced it, that's how you get to channel it so clearly. And that's why you connect with the divine so effortlessly. It's not because you're working at it and going, come on, divine.
Where are you? So thank you for that. And for so this training, because I saw it on your website last night. Anybody, listen, you guys, he's got so much social media. So I created a slider so everybody knew where to find Davidji. But if you go to his website, that's super easy. It's davidji.com. And he has under upcoming events. So if you go to that tab at the top and hit upcoming events, you're going to see this master meditation training that he does offer. And I was like, ooh, I should take that. But yeah, what a wonderful opportunity. It is wonderful to teach and give back and to help others. Maybe just find that spark, like you were saying, inside of themselves. And it's beautiful, the work that you're doing and helping others for sure. And with the work, I have a question. Because you work with so many types of people, like, you do work with the military and corporations. You work with woo-woo people. You work with yogis. All of those. Is there a particular type, I don't know, or an audience that you prefer, or not really? Does everybody kind of surrender once they're in front of you?
It's a great question because it's so unique. I live a lot on planes, and I travel the world a lot, and I teach probably more than 300 days a year in different places, and that's really what fills me up. And it's so interesting that every room creates its own energy, and that's why I don't like to bring slides, or a PowerPoint, because I don't know who's going to be there and what that vibration is going to be. One of the most fulfilling things that I've done over the last 4 years is work with an organization called Blue Courage, which teaches cops around the world. And they teach them other things. But I get to teach them awareness, and I get to teach them patience, and I get to teach them really how to connect to the present moment. And so the beauty of that is that this would not be your typical audience, or I never anticipated that this would be my typical audience. To train to connect to stillness and silence. And I don't call it meditation, I call it tactical breathing. And so they can connect to that, and no one has an issue with that. They may have an issue with how I look, because they're like, what, are you like playing but that has been so fulfilling, because it's now 4 years, and this was set up by the Department of Justice, which has been an honor for me to really work with. And now I see cops, and I go online, and there's rooms full of cops meditating. And this just started in Aurora, Illinois, spread to Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, Seattle, Portland. And, then we had this whole, wild couple of years with just a lot of police violence on both sides.
Yeah.
And, all those issues could have been solved, or would never have happened if someone had practiced 16 seconds, if someone had just taken a breath, if someone had not rolled up on a situation and forced a confrontation, but rather, witnessed a little bit more, observed a little bit more. So, the organization Blue Courage helps restore the nobility of policing through diet, through exercise, through a certain mind frame. And I teach them really awareness, the tools of awareness, which we all can benefit from. So that's particularly fulfilling, as I've seen cops meditate. And there's this TV show Blue Bloods with Tom Selleck, and they were using my technique on it, and I was like, oh my God, I've made it on the screen. So things like that are really fulfilling for me. But I love every audience is so exciting. Last week I was up with the Southern California Permanente Medical Group. So that was a room full of physicians. So when I see physicians looking to learn about these things, that's so inspiring.
Yes.
And yet, I live in the sweet spot of the universe, so I love rooms full of kooky woo-woo people. So there's nothing more exciting than being in a room of, dolphin whisperers and unicorns, and card readers and clairvoyants and clairsentients and psychic mediums. So I'm, there's I think it's the variety and the diversity of all who we are, and the diversity of anyone I get to share these teachings with. And I learn so much from everyone that I'm with. So that really helps to take my life to the next level and raise my vibration. And that's why I try to be as open to as many different types of things as possible, even when I'm going like, really, Bank America? And then I've had such fulfilling time working with Bank America and with Merrill Lynch, because these are people in high stress all the time, managing money, or what they're really doing is working with people, not with numbers. They're working with investors, from the teeniest investor to giant investor. So to allow them to not be reactive, but to be more responsive, to not be reflexive, but to be more reflective. That's so fulfilling. So wherever I show up, that's what it is. And a lot of people say, "Can you come and do a run through?" And I'm like, "Run through for what?" I'm okay.
Yeah, it is. I'm good. I love it. So now you have also this event with one of the world's greatest mediums, James Van Praagh. And you and James have Soul Awakening 2017. Now, this is going to be in San Diego. It's September 22nd through the 24th. But my goodness, it's a destination hotel. So tell us a little bit about this experience.
Yeah, it's really funny. Hay House has about 30 radio shows over the course of the week, 30 different hosts. But I'm the only one who lives in Carlsbad.
Okay.
Next to Hay House, so I can drive there in 5 minutes. And recently, I guess about a year ago, James Van Praagh moved from I think Orange County down to around here as well. And so suddenly I bumped into him in the studio, and I was like, "James, what are you doing here?" And I'd met him about 2 years ago at a Hay House I Can Do It event. He goes, "I live here now." And I was like, "Oh my God, we have to be on each other's shows. We have to hang out together." And so I invited him to be on my show. And of course, I'm staring at James. I'm like 6 inches away from his face. And he's just taking calls from people and telling them all this stuff about dead people in their lives who are speaking to them, talking to the spirit world. And he always says to me, "It's the humans who get in the way. The spirit voice is really clear." But I'm staring at him to see, like, what does he do right before he suddenly says, "John came to me," or "this happened," and of course, now we've been on each other's shows about, 10 times. And he's so joyful. He's so filled with love. And he's been so generous to me. I said, "Hey, you want to do something together?" And he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So last year we came together to create the first Soul Awakenings. I didn't even know what it was going to be. But I said, "I'll get everyone still and silent, and you can channel all the ghosts." And more than that, but yeah, that's essentially what we'll do.
Yes, it's
more intuitive and stillness. And so we had such a good time together that, and he teaches people to connect. So there are people in the audience who are like, "I'm now speaking to my dead child, my dead parent, my dead spouse." I mean, it's unbelievable what goes on there. So really, it was just an excuse for me to hang out with James Van Praagh. I'll be teaching all the various techniques to help people in this practice really connect to stillness, and then James will help them channel the universe and get more intuitive. So we're really excited to be doing that.
Oh, I bet it's going to be fantastic and so much fun. And yeah, and James is just great. I mean, he's so much fun, isn't he? He's got like such a joy about him. So,
and he also, whenever we're like together, he doesn't carry around any notes either. So even when I said, "So how do you want to do this?" He goes, "Why don't we just sit on stage next to each other for 3 days?" And I was like, "I've never even thought of that." Okay,
it's perfect.
And we just like hung out together, sitting there, and he taught, and I learned, and I taught, and he meditated. I mean, it's really very, very special. And he couldn't be lighter. He couldn't be lighter. And he's so funny. I think, one of the joys, because I live so close to Hay House, I bring Peaches the Buddha Princess, my mindful Morky. Here's an ad. She's an LA rescue. She was found on the side of the 405 years ago. So I'm so excited. But I bring her to the studio, so she's with me during that live show, and she's like wild about James. And normally she just lays on the table in front of me, or lays on the recording booth, or sits in my lap. But when James is there, she's like pawing at him and licking. The two of them get into this, this deep trance together. So that's some type of clairvoyance technique. But
They're all connecting to spirit, and you're like, hey, wait a second.
right.
That's awesome. Pets are so healing, don't you find? Like,
God,
they really are. And so yeah, you are constantly busy being in the, traveling and doing all of that, because it's very grounding, and you have all this stuff that you've got to do. So you have this very quote unquote normal life. We've got that 16 seconds that you were talking about practice that you can do, but how do you find just that balance through this busy, chaotic life that is outside of being on the mic or talking about things?
Yeah, I live mostly in the present moment, and I've got tons of stuff coming up, and we all do. We all have something that's about to happen, whether it's a week from now or 6 months from now. But I'm constantly in preparation mode. I'm constantly cultivating my sacred powers. I'm cultivating my sense of attention. I'm cultivating my ability of forgiveness. I'm cultivating the clarity through the techniques and the teachings that I practice. And so I spend very little time in the future. And I don't spend any time in the past. It's carved in stone, it's done. And what I've learned from the past is now in me in the future. Yes, of course I feel sadness and grief, and when I experience a loss. But I also know that the pain of that grief, the pain of that loss is equal to the depth of the love I had for that person or that thing that is no longer.
That's a great way to look at it.
By connecting to a lot of these, ancient teachings, they've given me strength, and they've given me courage, and they've really allowed me to be in the present. And so I spend a lot more time celebrating, and a lot of time letting go of what no longer serves me, whether that's a dream or whether that's just some clutter in my head from my life. I'm open to accepting what the universe has to deliver. I think here we are right now in this sacred, precious present moment. I truly believe that. And then the question is, so what are we going to do with it? What magnificent thing.
What party are we going to have right now?
I want to ask that question. What party are we going to have?
Yeah.
Not what thing that didn't work out 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I got to dive into right now.
I love it.
So I want to soar, because I know there will be times when we're all crawling on our belly through glass, and those times are really, really tough.
Yeah.
And hopefully the teachings strengthen us and allow us to get there, and we surround ourselves with people who are encouraging and supportive. And as long as we trust that the universe will deliver us to exactly where we need to be in those moments, that's, sometimes I'll find myself like, how did I get here?
Yeah. What happened? Yeah.
How did I agree to this?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, you put me in a kooky place. Let's see what that looks like. You cancel all my flights, and I have to find some hotel or something like that. I know that the best version of me, because I'm a pretty fiery person, being a pizza from New York tourist, in a couple of days, so I could be like, stubborn and fiery. But I believe that if I can cultivate that fire and transform it into light rather than heat, I'm going to be a lot happier, and everyone in my life is going to be a lot happier. So that's really, I'm always trying to, when I find myself in a compromising situation or a conflict or an interruption, I'll ask myself, can we flow a little more light here, a little less heat?
Oh, nice.
And I think
Nice.
that allows me, and hopefully that, that can help other people step
Yes.
into their, as opposed to stepping into their worst version.
Yes. Well, thank you. And well, the show, our time here is coming to a close. That's just the time here, not just you and I forever, though, Davidji. But I do want to thank you. You offered a free gift for the listeners today. This is incredible. It is a download meditation. And I mean, thank you so much for that. How beautiful. And I know now that's it. Everybody's going to be so happy. This is going to, I do appreciate it and love it. And again, there is that workshop. Anybody in Santa Monica, LA area, honestly, if you were in 4 hours of Santa Monica, try to come here and do this workshop. And David, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I can't tell you, when I tried something at the beginning of the year and I said, I'm going to put it out there to the universe to ask guests who I love, who I feel that changed the world, changed me. And so I was so honored that you agreed to share your time with us this morning. And I am so grateful to that. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Colby. And thank you for being so authentic. And I so appreciate our sweet connection. And thanks for taking these teachings and your teachings into the world. We transform the world by transforming ourselves. And, together, just magnificence will flow.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And enjoy the rest of your day. Well, everybody, I got to say that was incredible. And I just want to, what a lovely gift we had today with Davidji. And there you go. You've got the download, so make sure you look at that and pay attention to that. As I close the show, we will show this again Thursday night. So if you missed, you get to watch it again. So tune in again, watch it. We're going to be here Thursday night. Real quick, I do want to mention the May 13th evening of messages with my good friend AJ Barrera. So there's just a limited amount of tickets, but we are in Tustin if you do that. And for all my Coffee with Colby people, it is 10 a.m. every morning. So hopefully you guys tuned in this morning for Davidji. And what a gift, you guys. I got to tell you, there are masters for a reason, and he's truly, truly, thank goodness that man pulled on his darn pant leg and said, what's going to be on your tombstone? Thank goodness. So anyhow, thank you guys so much. Have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Sometimes I feel like a star, but only strictly where I'm famous. I'm in this for the longest haul, like we'll see where it takes us. I'm throwing back these double shots like whiskey here is weightless. Cause this career I chose was even riskier than Vegas, yo.